Weaning. Weaning means introducing a range of non-milk foods gradually until your baby is eating the same foods as the rest of your family.
Until 6 months of age, your baby only needs breast milk or formula. By 6 months of age, your baby has developed, and milk alone won't give them everything that they need. So it's time to think about introducing some solids.
By 6 months, your baby will be developing the skills to sit up, hold objects, and put them to his or her mouth.
Your baby's also going to be showing interest in maybe your food and what your family are eating. Waiting until 6 months of age before introducing solids to your baby means that it will be able to cope more easily and ready for solid foods. Your baby will be able to feed themselves by that age. They'll also be better at moving food around their mouths and swallowing food, which means they can cope better with a range of tastes and textures, and probably won't stay in a pureed stage very long, if at all.
So just to recap, at about 6 months old, babies can easily be moved onto a mixed diet. Try giving foods to your baby when they can sit up, when they show an interest in the food, and they can pick the food up and put it to his or her mouth. And also if they appear to still be hungry, even though you have increased milk feeds for a few days.
Allow plenty of time for feeding. It should be a nice, relaxed time together. And so don't introduce a feed when baby's really tired, over fractious, or not feeling well. So how do we start giving those first tastes to baby? A plastic spoon is best, and we're just going to be offering a little bit on the end of a spoon. Remember, your baby's just learning to eat. And the foods that you should be given, the first food should be fruit and vegetables. If the food is hot, make sure you stir and test it before you give it to your baby. Most babies take time to learn how to take food from the spoon, so remember, be patient and be relaxed around food and the baby. And be prepared for some mess. Your baby's going to be finding out about lots of different tastes and textures and learning that food doesn't come in a continuous flow anymore. So some handy hints for when you first start feeding your baby. First of all, don't press food on your baby. Look for baby's cues. Is baby interested in food? Are they pursing their lips or they're turning their head away? That might be time to stop feeding.
Don't add any foods, things like rusks or baby rice, to a bottle containing milk.
Wait for your baby to open his or her mouth when food is actually being offered.
Let your baby touch the food, put the food to the mouth, play with it in the dish or on the spoon.
Allow lots of time for exploration with food and allow your baby to feed themselves. So it might be that they're starting to show interest in using the spoon, or they want to pick up foods, so lots of finger foods as well.
And give your baby a range of foods, textures and tastes so they get a good variation. As your baby progresses with solids, there are more foods you can try. So you can now introduce your meat, chicken, fish. They can have lentils and split pulses. They can also have their full fat dairy products. So you can introduce yogurts, fromage frais. They can have cheese in their diet. You can see how they respond to the different flavours. Obviously, everything's going to be a new taste now, so it might take a little while for your baby to get used to that taste, but just keep offering the flavours to your baby so they get used to it.
And how much your baby takes is less important than getting used to the idea of food other than milk. So it's that process of changing from that liquid diet to more solid diet. So a little bit around finger foods. Encourage your baby to chew even if they don't have teeth. Some babies prefer foods that they can hold rather than ever being fed foods, and if that's what they enjoy, then that's absolutely fine. So finger foods provide chewing practice and encourage babies to feed themselves. Avoid sweet biscuits and rusks so that your baby does not get into the habit of expecting sweet snacks. So try and offer a varied diet, a range of both sweet and savoury foods. And never leave your baby alone when eating. Talk to your baby quietly, make it a nice little social occasion, and encourage them to eat.
When you are both ready, you can start to increase the amount of solid food you give your baby gradually. Try to react to your baby's appetite. So if your baby is still hungry, you can try a little bit more food. If your baby's full, They will let you know. They arch their back, they shake their heads, they close their mouth. This is them telling you that they've had enough to eat. Your baby is the best guide to how much food you need to give.
Try and offer a balanced diet each day. So think about the food groups that you're offering and the meals that you're making, and try and offer plenty of fresh fruit and vegetables every day. But you can also use frozen and tinned fruit and vegetables. Plenty of carbohydrate-rich foods, so things like your breads, your pulses, your cereals, potatoes, and also iron-rich foods are important from 6 months. So that would be things like your fish, your meat, pulses, those kinds of foods as well, and also eggs. And begin to use different foods and different tastes and offer just a really wide variety between 6 and 12 months. If your child doesn't seem to like a taste, then do revisit that taste. So in 2 or 3 days, try it again and keep doing that over a long period. And eventually your little one will start to try some new and a wider variety of foods. And try and use family foods as well. Don't overcomplicate things. Use things that you've got at home. You don't have to go out and buy anything special really.
Robert! It is really important to introduce foods to your babies that can trigger allergic reactions from 6 months of age. One at a time in a very small amount so you can spot the reaction. Foods that can cause reactions are things like cow's milk. You can use cow's milk in food when you're cooking for babies, but they can't have it as a drink until the 12 months of age. Also eggs, and Joanna's going to read something from the NHS website regarding eggs.
So the latest guidelines around eggs are that eggs are produced under the British Lion Code of Practice. So that is stamped with the red lion. So have a little look then if you're thinking about using eggs. So those stamped with the red lion are considered very low risk for salmonella and safe for babies to eat partially cooked.
Also, trigger allergic reaction foods are things like nuts and peanuts. We're not saying give your babies any whole nuts at all because it is very dangerous to give a whole nut. Your baby can choke on it. So any nuts and peanuts have to be crushed. Things like seeds, they would have to be crushed as well, and shellfish. Once you've offered your baby these foods and they're okay with them, they haven't had any reaction to them at all, keep offering the foods to your baby.
Talk a little bit more about moving on from those very first tastes from the beginning of weaning. How do we get to the next stages? And really, every baby's different. We can't tell you exactly how long it'll take, or your baby might be different from your neighbour's baby or a friend's baby. But basically, you'll start from offering food once a day, you'll increase that to twice a day, and you'll increase that to 3 times a day. And gradually over time, the volume will increase. So it'll be more like full meals over time. And as your baby starts to eat more solids, the amount of milk that they consume will just naturally start to drop. If you're bottle feeding, you can drop a milk feed, but continue to give infant formula milk until your baby is 12 months of age. After 12 months of age, you can give cow's milk, and we do recommend that you carry on breastfeeding between 6 to 12 months as well. Breastfeeding mums, really there's no difference to the formula feeds. As your baby builds up its appetite and is starting to eat more meals a day, the amount of times your baby wants to breastfeed will naturally just reduce. And as you head towards a year and your baby's on 3 meals a day, eventually your baby might only want to breastfeed morning and night.
From about 9 months of age, your baby should be learning to fit in with the family by eating 3 meals a day, as well as their milk. Your baby should also have healthy snacks such as fruit in between meals. Fruit is better than biscuits, which could give your baby a sweet tooth and fill him or her up without providing the right nutrients. Include your baby in the family mealtime routine. Feed your baby while family members are eating. If you have decided not to give your baby meat or fish, it's important that you give 2 servings a day of split pulses such as red lentils, split peas. You can also give tofu, eggs, soya pieces as well, but soya is one of the trigger foods, so I would say to introduce that singly first, just to make sure your baby doesn't react to it.
So we're going to talk a little bit around ready prepared and baby foods now. I know that sometimes mums prefer to use these, or they can be convenient. And it can be useful to have a few jars or tins of packets of baby foods in the cupboard. But what I would say is don't let them replace your family foods. They're really, really important, because ultimately that's what long term your child's going to be eating on a daily basis, foods that you have every day yourself. So if you are going to use any packets or jars or anything like that, just a few tips. Check the use by and the best before dates. Check that the seals on the cans or the jars haven't been broken at all, and choose sugar-free foods or foods which don't have added sugars and sweeteners as well. And remember to check the label on any products that you're using at home to make meals like spaghetti bolognese, things like that. Many of the soups, sauces, and breakfast cereals and ready prepared foods can be really high in salt and sugar. So try and check the labels and look for healthier versions if you can. We're going to talk a little bit about drinks now for your baby post 6 months. So the kindest drinks for teeth are milk or water. If you choose to give juice, then just try and remember to do 1 part juice to 10 parts water, and that really dilutes it down and is much better for teeth.
Introduce a cup to your baby from 6 months of age. A free-flowing cup is the best kind of cup to give. A hard-spouted free-flowing cup. So if you put the water in and tip it upside down and the water comes out, that's a free-flowing cup. Or you could also use an open cup. Some cups have a valve in. So if you already have a cup that has a valve in, sometimes you can take that valve out. If you can't, would recommend that you don't use that cup. Milk and water are the best drinks to put in a cup. So if you use a valved cup and you put anything other than milk or water in, so if you choose to give a sugary drink and you put it in a cup, that sugar will stay around the gum line, so it can affect the teeth at a later date.
If you are going to use an open cup, so when your baby first starts handling a cup and learning how to use the cup, just remember it's just like eating, it's a new skill. It's going to take a little bit of time. They might get a little bit of messy, they might pour it on themselves. If you're going to use an actual open cup rather than a free flow beaker cup, then just put a small amount of water in and let around supervision, being with them around, maybe introduce it at meal times to start with, and just time and patience. And what we would say with weaning is don't worry about mess and things like that. So, take the clothes off and just have your little one in its vest top. Really don't worry about any mess and just let them enjoy the experience of weaning and learning to use a cup and to drink.
We're just going to talk a bit about safety and hygiene. We want to ensure that your baby is not at risk from germs as a result of food preparation and serving. So always make sure that your hands are washed thoroughly before you prepare your baby's food.
And as well as you washing your own hands, make sure that baby's hands is washed, especially if they're going to be eating finger foods.
It's important to keep your surfaces clean and prevent pets, if you've got any, from either jumping up on the table or getting anywhere near the food that you're preparing.
Keep chopping boards thoroughly clean and make sure that there's no opportunities for cross-contamination, so meat should be prepared well away from any other foods.
Keep your cooked and your raw meats covered and separate from each other and away from any other foods in the fridge.
And thoroughly wash all your bowls, spoons, etc., in hot soapy water.
If your baby hasn't eaten all of the food that you've prepared for them, don't reuse it, don't reheat it. It may cause a tummy upset, so we recommend that you would just throw that food away.
So cooked food should not be reheated more than once.
Always check the temperature of your baby's food as well before you give it to your baby. It should be lukewarm, it shouldn't be cold, it shouldn't be very cold, or it shouldn't be piping hot either.
You want to wash and peel your fruit and vegetables, such as apples and carrots. I hope you have enjoyed this weaning session today, but if you do need any further advice or support, please call us on our single point of contact, which is
03000 031 552, or you could also contact us via our Facebook site of Growing Healthy 0 to 19 Sunderland. Bye.